Hello there, Cobra1 Knob here, and today I'm going to show you some concept art that I've made for the upcoming Battlefront 2. What's different about the Clone Wars era is the option of squads. As you can see, there are multiple legions of clones that you can pick to play as. Again, I will make a more detailed video on this.
Hello there, Cobra1 Knob here and welcome back to another video. Now, it has been a while, but I thought a fun way to come back would be to look back onto some old Battlefront 2 concept art that I made just a week before Battlefront 2 was actually officially announced. So this video delved into what I thought the menus could look like, so it's a showcase of all the eras, all the possible DLC that we could have gotten. In the video itself, I actually went on to explain that I was going to make a future video going into more detail of the different sections that I go into, such as the squads menu. So I thought it'd be fun if I kept my word and took a look into some of the stuff that I didn't actually end up showing in that video. So just to quickly show some stuff that I did already show in that last video, this is the main menu. It's very reminiscent of the Battlefront 1 menu. So I think this is just what a lot of people were doing at the time anyway. We all just kind of imagined it was going to look the same, but just throw on some pictures from other eras. So you've got the Clone Wars ones especially. This is already in the other video, so I'll just skip to stuff that we haven't actually seen. I did do a menu for each era, and for whatever reason I thought Rogue One and Rebels could be their own eras. So a big problem in this video is that I assumed I could just split the fan base like that. So realistically, this just really wouldn't work. You would not find a full server in any of these DLCs because they were just a ridiculous amount. But I think some of them have some fun concepts. One I have yet to show is the Rogue One menu. So again, this uses the same template where you've got your DLCs, you've got your pictures from the film, got the background image, which I think is a TIE Defender, I believe. The other problem with this as well is that so this, for example, has 7 DLC playlists, but it doesn't even show the base game maps. Judging from this anyway, the base maps would be just Scarif and Jeddah, which is kind of ridiculous for its own era that I thought it would be. And then honestly, some of these maps wouldn't even work. So we've got, Mustafar will be cool as DLC. Tantive 4, do we really need a whole DLC surrounding Tantive 4? So realistically, these would just be maps that could work as its own Rogue One DLC, but realistically wouldn't work for its own era. So another thing I thought was worth mentioning was the campaign menu that I had made. It featured all the films and even as Rebels for whatever reason. So I think the idea was you'd play through all the films, kind of like the original Battlefront 1. So you'd essentially just play out all the battles that happened during each film. So not entirely sure why I've featured like all the jewels as the thumbnails. But yeah, that's how that would have worked, essentially. So one of the things I did promise I'd continue speaking about in another video was the whole idea of squads. So this would be found on the prequel or Clone Wars main menu. So this is a feature that wouldn't actually be in the others. But this would happen when you click on it anyway. So each legion would have its own playlist, which is just ridiculous. On the screen now there's 5 at least. And I think the idea was you'd click on one of them playlists. There'll be set maps. So I think the 501st would probably have the most maps. So you'd have like Coruscant and things. But you'd also get set heroes for each playlist, so you could only play as like Anakin and Rex in this one, for example. 2/12 I imagine you play as Obi-Wan, but this would also imply you'd also have like God knows how many like Jedi heroes, generals, captains, whatever. So I was very hopeful for this game, but I suppose the whole point is that it's all ideas. It's a very bad concept. It could be implemented, I suppose, but I think the whole idea was, again, we'll use 501st as an example. So you'd play only as a 501st, only in that set playlist, and you can only unlock things for the 501st. Obviously, none of this makes sense gameplay-wise, but that was the idea anyway, that was the concept. But what I thought was interesting, so there's an example of a medic skin, which I thought was intriguing. I think the whole idea was there was no roles like there is in Battlefront 2 now, so it works similar to the old game where you can unlock your skins, you're all just a soldier and that's all really that mattered. So the game wouldn't actually have classes, but you could wear skins that would basically gain the traits of different classes. So if you wore the medic skin, you've assigned yourself as a medic and gave yourself them traits. And so unlocked here, I'll just read out what it says. So medic droids heals you and teammates 25% faster. Back to bombs heal teammates 50% faster. The adrenaline stim charges are gained after each 3 kills at trait level 3. Heal heroes and hero rescue 33% faster. So that's a mention of another game mode that I'd come up with as well. These make more like star cards, I suppose, for what could be a medic. Lots of potential for Battlefront 3 there, but again, this just really wouldn't work in the game. So this is what it would look like if you jumped into a game of squads. So by the looks of it, it also has its own game modes, because I've put blast at the top. So imagine it had capture the flag and sort of smaller scale game modes. And then obviously the menu's just pretty much just the same as the old menu. And so this another menu, I forgot what you actually have to press to get to this menu, because I think it works the same as 2015. But I do think it's quite funny, I've put pluck contracts in here, which to be honest I do think is kind of genius. I've also featured like a loading screen, so again this is just very 2015-esque, where you've got your descriptions, you've got the background. Honestly, I think this is something Battlefront 3 should bring back. So yeah, the shots of the planets are nice, but I think it'd be cool if you got to see like the gameplay of the battle going on, especially if you're joining mid-game and you actually get to see some of the landscapes and obviously have the music in the background. But yeah, that's something I think they should bring back. So I've actually found some old messages on Discord explaining all the maps and DLCs. If people want to see how the other DLCs work, feel free to let me know, but I feel like that's just way too much to shove into this one video. Well, that's all from me for this video. Let me know what you thought. Feel free to tell me how ridiculous all these DLCs are in the comments. Feel free to check out the link tree as well. I've got all sorts of socials on there. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you.